Fallout girl. She played Fallout too many times. First it was a game, then an aesthetic, then a lifestyle. Eventually, the gun store clerk realized she wasn't buying a shotgun. She was looting a legendary item. She arrived wearing a worn leather jacket, torn tank top, combat boots, and the expression of a post-apocalyptic Woojack dream girl created by someone who hadn't seen sunlight in weeks. The clerk asked, "Cash or card?" She dumped bottle caps on the counter. He explained that bottle caps weren't legal currency. She replied, "Your faction reputation just decreased." Eventually, she bought an old shotgun with a wooden stock. Not the most practical, not the lightest. But it looked like it had survived 2 wars, 3 updates, and a poorly optimized mod pack. At home, she wrapped parts of it in tape, added radiation stickers, fake rust, and a bottle cap hanging from the sling. A neighbor saw it in the elevator and asked if everything was okay. She replied, "On the surface, yes." At the grocery store, she called the checkout counter a trading post. Her discount card was faction reputation. Rotisserie chicken was low-level mutated wildlife. Her followers loved it. One commenter wrote, "Mommy Wasteland." She liked the comment in the wasteland, "You don't waste allies." Once she went on a date with an actual prepper. He had water filters, generators, emergency supplies, an entire basement dedicated to surviving civilization's collapse. He thought she'd be impressed. She said the shelter felt too clean and lacked environmental storytelling. He never called again. At the range, the instructor asked what distance she wanted. She asked, "What's the target's damage resistance?" The instructor silently placed a standard target downrange. One night, a food delivery driver stopped at the wrong apartment. She opened the door wearing full wasteland gear and holding the shotgun. The driver handed over the food. She asked, "How many caps for fast travel?" The driver replied, "It's already paid for." She closed the door and quietly said, "NPC survived, rare outcome." The anime fan. After watching way too much anime where the main character shoots one-handed, stands sideways, and delivers a speech before every fight, he decided firearms were basically modern swords, not weapons. Extensions of the soul. At the gun store, the clerk asked what he needed the pistol for. Self-defense competition. Range shooting. He replied, "I need something with a tragic backstory." The clerk handed him a normal compact pistol. He asked if they had one that looked more like a final season upgrade. A week later, he owned a black case, fingerless gloves, a long coat, and ammunition stored in a box covered with crying anime girl stickers. His friend Mike bought a normal handgun. No lore, no personality, just a gun. At the range, Mike calmly stepped up, calmly fired, and calmly hit the center. It was so efficient, the instructor almost fell asleep watching. The anime fan stepped onto the lane like his mentor had just died 3 episodes earlier. He turned sideways, extended one arm, and said, "You chose the wrong protagonist." The recoil slapped his wrist. His glasses shifted. The shot landed on the edge of the target. He called it a warning shot. Mike pointed out that cardboard doesn't experience fear. At an anime convention, he met a girl near a figure booth. She asked why his gun case had multiple locks on it. He told her there was a second season sleeping inside. She thought he was being poetic. That was a mistake. Later, he brought her to the shooting range. She thought it would be a normal date.
Coffee, conversation, maybe a movie afterward. Instead, he spent 20 minutes explaining that every firearm should have emotional trauma. She asked if they could just shoot. He said, "You can't skip the exposition." One night, he heard a noise in the kitchen. He put on the coat, grabbed the case, stood in front of a mirror trying to find the perfect one-liner. While he was rehearsing, the cat knocked over a frying pan and left. The next morning, he told Mike that the real battle had been internal. Mike nodded. He had stopped asking questions months ago. The BMW owner. She didn't buy a pistol because she was afraid. One day, she simply realized her life already had sport mode, launch control, aggressive styling, and premium leather. Something was still missing. Personal sport mode. At the gun store, she asked for something German, compact, and confident. The clerk asked what she intended to use it for. She said it should match the interior. While he tried explaining the differences between models, she was already choosing a holster based on belt color. At the range, she arrived in her BMW, parked across 2 spaces, and explained that it wasn't bad parking. It was a wide-body package. Her friend was filming Instagram stories. The range owner saw the car through the window and quietly removed everything fragile from the lobby. The instructor asked her to maintain proper spacing. She replied, "I always know my dimensions." The instructor clarified that he wasn't talking about parking. She said, "I use the same technique everywhere." On the firing line, she occupied one bench with her range bag, another with coffee, and a third with her phone. A man nearby tried to complain. She looked at him the way a BMW looks at a turn signal. He changed his mind. Before her first string of fire, she asked if the target could move slightly left. The instructor said targets don't reposition themselves on request. She looked genuinely confused. In her world, everything did. The worst part was that she actually shot pretty well, which somehow annoyed everyone even more. Because if she had been terrible, the universe would have felt fair. Afterward, she spent 20 minutes in a cafe explaining that firearms were really about aesthetic control. Her friend asked why her gun case had an M performance sticker. She answered, "So it opens faster." Late one night, her car alarm went off.
She walked outside in a bathrobe holding her pistol with the expression of someone expecting another expensive repair bill. A raccoon was sitting beside the trash cans. The BMW flashed its lights, made 3 different warning sounds, activated the welcome lighting sequence. The raccoon looked at the car, looked at her, estimated future maintenance costs, and left voluntarily. The next day, she told everyone the threat had been neutralized through German engineering. The neighbors were just relieved the raccoon hadn't hired a lawyer. The crypto guy, he bought a rifle after watching a bearded man in a basement explain that the dollar would collapse, banks would disappear, and the only real assets left would be gold, ammunition, and canned beans. He didn't call it a firearm, he called it physical liquidity. At the gun store, the clerk asked about his budget. He opened a spreadsheet. There were columns labeled rifles, Bitcoin, ammunition, beans, and probability of societal collapse before the next halving. The clerk just wanted to sell something and eat lunch. The crypto guy bought an AR platform because he described it as a blue chip asset. Then he bought ammunition and locked it in a safe, not to shoot, to preserve value. His friend Alex went to the range every week, practiced, improved. Smelled like gunpowder and responsible decisions. The crypto guy would come along, fire 1 round, open a calculator, and say down 87 cents, potentially $12 in future value. Alex reminded him that the point was training. The crypto guy replied, "I'm early to get home." His girlfriend asked him to take out the trash. He said it wasn't a good time to exit his position. She said the position was beginning to smell. One night, someone tried breaking into the garage. The crypto guy jumped out of bed and ran to the safe. The safe required an app. The app required 2-factor authentication. The token required a subscription. The company had shut down 3 months earlier. He stood barefoot in the dark, refreshing his screen and whispering, "No way." The community was so strong. The thief left with his bicycle. The next morning, he explained to Alex that it wasn't theft, it was forced decentralization. His mother called and asked why he didn't just buy another bike. He said she was thinking in fiat. She told him he was thinking on foot. Alex asked whether he'd finally start training. The crypto guy answered, after market recovery. The bodybuilder. He bought a shotgun because somebody mentioned recoil. He heard resistance at the store. He asked for the heaviest option available. The clerk explained that weight wasn't always an advantage. The bodybuilder smiled the way people smile when they don't trust anyone without visible traps. He bought a large shotgun, several boxes of shells, and asked whether it was okay to shoot on leg day. The clerk asked why that would matter. He replied, functional mass. At the gym, he told his trainer that shooting was basically a new training split. Monday, chest, Wednesday, back Friday, shotgun. The trainer begged him to stop posing in front of mirrors while holding the gun case. The bodybuilder insisted it was tactical visualization. At the range, he stood so tense it looked like he expected the target to judge his physique. Before every shot, he flexed his chest, shoulders, neck, back, and at least 3 muscles that shouldn't be involved in shooting. His group looked like it had been fired from a moving bus. Next to him, a skinny guy wearing glasses and weighing approximately as much as a laptop backpack calmly stacked rounds into the center. A woman behind them said, "Wow, nice shooting." The bodybuilder immediately replied, "He has less muscular interference." Later, he entered a local competition. He did push-ups before every stage, drank protein shakes between strings, and described every missed shot as a deload week. A retiree beat him. An accountant beat him. A woman who came only to support her husband accidentally beat him. A few days later, a physical therapist asked how he had strained his neck. The bodybuilder answered, "Trying to stabilize recoil with my traps." The therapist wrote something down and decided not to investigate further. One night, he heard a noise in the kitchen, grabbed the shotgun, walked past a mirror, stopped, checked his shoulders. The noise stopped. It was the refrigerator. He nodded at his reflection and said, it understood the weight class. The fisherman. He didn't buy the old shotgun for self-defense. Not for sport, not for collecting things, just happen on the water. His wife once asked why he brought a shotgun fishing. He answered, beavers. She waited for elaboration. None arrived. In their marriage, that counted as communication. At 4 in the morning, he left home carrying fishing rods, a thermos, a box of worms, and a shotgun that looked older than several countries. At a gas station, the cashier asked whether the fish were biting. He replied, "They know." The cashier decided it was too early to continue. This trip included his city friend. The friend had a fish finder, a GoPro, a drone, 3 weather apps, and enough electronics to invade a small nation. The fisherman had a worm and a stare. Out on the lake, the friend launched the drone. It hovered above the water, buzzing like a tiny tax auditor. The fisherman watched it, then looked at the shotgun. The friend immediately said, "Don't, it cost $2,000. The fisherman replied, "Then it's old enough to be responsible for its actions." He didn't shoot. Nature simply became aware that options existed later. A wildlife officer approached the boat, checked the licenses, looked at the rods, the thermos, the ancient shotgun, and a single fish in the bucket approximately the size of a legal misunderstanding. The officer asked why he needed the gun. The fisherman looked toward the reeds and said, "They know." The officer wished them a good day and left. The city friend asked who they were. The fisherman remained silent for 5 hours. Near sunset, he caught a small pike, looked it in the eyes, released it, and said, "Tell the others." The friend never brought the drone fishing again, not because he understood nature, because he had started believing too.